Ash Ketchum vs. Leon, the battle of all Pokemon battles, where Ash achieved his greatest victory yet against the former world champion Leon. But did you notice that all throughout the entire battle, this 4-part spectacle pays homage to Ash's entire journey and his past teams with tons of references? For instance, you probably noticed that Leon uses Ash's counter shield technique against him, the first person outside of Diamond and Pearl to do so. But did you realize that this episode is the last time we'd see characters like Lance and Steven? Fun little Easter eggs and hidden details like this are what we'll cover in videos like this as I break down the most epic Pokemon battles in the entire anime. Hey Pokemon Champions, I'm Champion Blaze, and this is a breakdown of Ash vs. Leon Part 1, A Flood of Torrential Gains. To celebrate World Champion Ash Ketchum Day this year, I'll be going over all the little Easter eggs, hidden details, and references that you might have missed during this episode. Let's begin our breakdown of Ash's most challenging battle of all time. Let's get started. We open up on Sleetport City in the Hoenn region, and this is actually the first little Easter egg you may have missed, as Sleetport City seems to be a designated city for important character events in the Pokemon anime. Go is here for his final Project Mew trial mission, and this is also the same location he arrived at for his second trial mission. And even before this, Sleetport City was where the Hoenn Grand Festival was hosted during the Advanced Generation series. So it just seems like there's a trend for important events happening in this city, or at least meeting up here prior to the events. Go meets up with his good friend Horace, known as Tokyo in the original Japanese version that's spelled Tokio, not to be confused with Tokyo, the capital of Japan. And Horace is actually voiced by Jenny Yokobori in the dub, and this is another Jenny I'm sure Brock would fall in love with. Jenny may be known for voicing Horace in Pokemon Journeys, but she's also voiced other roles such as Miki in Pokemon Evolutions, Gary's Hatterene, Nita from Pokemon Masters EX, and even Kumiko Albertson from The Simpsons. Gary then shows up, and what's interesting is that he's actually been wearing his game's counterpart's outfit from Heart Gold throughout this entire series. In the games and manga, he's known as Blue, and this is the same outfit he wears in his redesign in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The three of them get going and meet up with Danica and Quillen. Danica is known as Asahi in the Japanese version, and in the dub is voiced by Anjalu Kunapanani. I apologize if I'm butchering the name. She's also known for her other roles, voicing Roy in the new Pokemon Horizons anime, being the voice of Courtney in Pokemon Masters EX, and also voicing Fuku from Demon Slayer, Mimi Imimi from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and Margaret from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Her partner Quillen is also with her, known as Tsurugi in Japan. In the dub, he's voiced by Max Middleman. He's also done the voices of characters like Notched Faust from Black Clover, Tim Templeton from The Boss Baby, Back in the Crib, Fandral from Marvel's What If series, and King from Seven Deadly Sins. They take off, and we cut to Ash looking into the distance as he wishes Go good luck on his trial mission. We then cut to Ash arriving at Winden Stadium, and in this shot of Ash standing outside in the crowd, I've just always loved the size comparison between the people and Winden Stadium. It just demonstrates how the battles that take place here are always grandiose and next level, which the battles in the Masters 8 tournament typically are. Well, for the most part anyways. There's also some Pokemon hidden among the crowd here, being Venonat, Lotad, Bonsly, Slowpoke, Pyukumuku, and Picurchin, along with the Bug Catcher, Hiker, and Pokemaniac trainer classes hidden in the crowd. Next, the opening theme plays, and I absolutely just despise this song because it just doesn't fit with the Pokemon anime at all. Normally, since the beginning, all the openings and theme songs have been upbeat, lively, usually accompanied with guitar and drums to raise our spirit of adventure. This one is just so jarring because it's juxtaposed next to such dynamic and beautiful shots of the Pokemon anime. The song itself is actually beautiful, but just doesn't fit the anime as it doesn't provide that thrill I want to feel if I'm going on a Pokemon journey. But with my personal opinion out of the way, this opening begins on a close-up of a Pokeball as if it was catching a Pokemon, and one of those stars actually transforms into Mew, symbolizing not only Mew's ability to take the shape of any other Pokemon due to its genetic makeup, but also Go's desire to one day catch Mew, which is why he started his journey in the first place. We get a shot of Ash's first encounter with Pikachu in Professor Oak's lab, demonstrating that this would be Ash's last adventure with us, so it hits us with some nostalgia. We see a shot of Go as a kid looking up to Mew, since again, that's his whole inspiration for going on a journey with Ash and becoming a research fellow at the Cerise Institute. Then we get a cool eye transition from Go and his Galarian starter Pokemon to Ash as he summons his Journeys team. Pikachu fires off its signature 10 million volt Thunderbolt, and then it's super quick, but you can see the aftermath of a clash between Leon's Charizard using Fire Blast and Ash's Lucario using its giant Aura Sphere attack, which actually exists in the full opening in the Japanese version. So I think it's interesting that they shortened such an epic shot here in the final season's opening, and because it's so quick, why even include it? I think it's odd, but let's move on. Pikachu falls into Ash's arms, and then we get this shot of Chloe and her Eevee in her contest outfit that she wore when she was getting advice from Serena. And all the evolutions are also displayed by her side, since her whole arc, if you want to call it that, was her and Eevee trying to figure out what path they wanted to pursue. We get a quick shot of Danica and Quillen with their respective Urshifu forms alongside Go as they prepare for an upcoming Project Mew trial mission. A fun fact here is that in the Japanese version of this opening, this shot extends more to show them staring down a giant Regigigas alongside Regidrago and Regieleki in the Crown Tundra, which is seemingly a scrapped plot point because once they caught a Regidrago and Regieleki, nothing ever happened with Regigigas in this anime. So like, what was the point? Ash and Go look up at Team Rocket as James's Morpeko eats a ton of berries, then does his iconic and signature hat turnaround as he sends a Gigantamax Pokeball into the air. And in the Japanese version, this shot continues further to show all 6 of Ash's Pokemon fighting in battle, which then continues into the shot of Pikachu firing off its Z-move that we saw earlier in the opening. And before any of this happens is when we technically get the eye transition shot between Ash and Go. So it's quite interesting how they move the shots around for the English dub openings. And then we finally end on the title card for this season, Pokemon Ultimate Journeys, as this is supposed to be Ash's greatest adventure with his greatest challenges as he aims to be the very best like no one ever was. The title card for the episode plays, and of course this episode is called A Flood of Torrential Gains, and is just called The Finals 1 Torrent in Japan. Both Ash and Leon actually read the episode title to the audience. Normally it's just Ash, but because of how monumental of an obstacle Leon is to Ash, and how similar the two of them are as trainers, it's a good symbolic choice to have them both read the episode title. We get an opening shot of Winden Stadium and then cut to Ash in the locker room area surrounded by his Journeys team as he gives them a pep talk before their biggest battle ever, just like a football or a basketball coach would right before the finals of the NFL or NBA tournaments we watch every year, and I think this was a really nice moment. Dawn and Chloe then show up to support Ash in his big battle, and this actually marks the first time one of Ash's former traveling companions has traveled to see Ash participate in a tournament in person, not counting Iris since she was already there participating herself. This was so sweet of Dawn, and this is why she's the best Poke Girl. And Dawn's voice actress also does the voice of our beloved champion, Cynthia, in case it wasn't obvious. They are both voiced by the lovely Emily Janis. She's also done voice work for characters like Officer Jenny beginning in Pokemon Journeys Episode 3, Matori from Team Rocket, Pokemon like Broxapini and Chansey, Dawn's Ambipom, Clement, Shinx, and Luxio, and outside of Pokemon, she's also voiced Zuzu Boyle, Selena, Rin, and Lulu Obsidian, who are all from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. So please note that when I list off other roles that these voice actors have done, I am only naming a few, as many of them have voiced so many characters, I would need an entire separate video just to cover them. After Ash's pep talk, we switch over to Leon, who's with his younger brother Hop. Leon is nervous before the big battle, not visibly, but he recalls his first ever Pokemon battle as a kid with his Charmander in a battle against Sonia's Rookidee. He wonders why he's recalling it now. This just goes to show the impact and influence that Ash has had on Leon throughout the series, and especially during the Masters 8 tournament. We then get to moments before the battle where we see Piplup sporting its iconic cheerleader outfit so he can cheer on Ash during the battle. This outfit first debuted during Ash's Orbrick City gym battle against Rourke back in Diamond and Pearl, which makes me wonder why Dawn isn't wearing her cheerleader outfit here too. Maybe she doesn't want to distract anyone from the battle since she's in public stands as opposed to the more private stands of a Pokemon gym. Leon is also voiced by Alejandro Saab, who's also voiced Rourke and Professor Kukui in Pokemon Masters EX. Team Rocket continues their act of narrating and live streaming the matches of the Masters 8 tournament, and I just think it's so funny that they still refer to Ash as the twerp even on a public broadcast. Even after all these years, they still don't know his name despite hearing it many times, and it's just a funny gag. But as soon as the match is about to start, they actually decide to drop the broadcast altogether and just enjoy the battle so they can cheer him on and be there in the moment. I think it's such a great wholesome decision on their part to just pay respect to him since they know firsthand how strong he is. As the match is about to begin, we see Iris, Lance, Alan, Professor Sycamore, and Marin tuning in to watch the battle. Which honestly just makes me wonder why they didn't just stay at the stadium in the first place since they were already there, aside from, Professor Sycamore and Marin, of course. Ash is introduced to the crowd as the first Alola region champion, and as the crowd cheers, Dawn cheers too, saying if Ash can't do it, no one can. This is the exact same cheer she used during their time together in Sinnoh. Ash and Leon take to the battlefield, and Leon throws off his cape just like he does in the games. And when he calls out his first Pokemon Cinderace, he even throws the Pokeball like a baseball player throwing a pitch. Just another subtle nod to how battles in Galar are treated like spectacles in big events, just like sporting events here in real life. Pikachu is Ash's first Pokemon to hit the field, just like in other League battles against Paul in the Sinnoh League and when he battled against Alon in the Kalos League. Then as Ash's Pokemon watch the battle alongside his mom, Professor Oak and Tracy, we can actually see that Ash's Crocodile's shades are missing their red frame around the lenses. When Inteleon and Gengar hit the field as their second Pokemon each, Ash makes the remark that he feels like he's battling Go since, just like Leon, he also owns both Cinderace and Inteleon. This could be a subtle reference towards the third opening of Pokemon Journeys, where we actually got a shot of Ash and Go battling in the rain with Lucario versus Cinderace respectively. This is when we all thought that Ash and Go would at some point have a climactic battle or even a full battle against each other, which unfortunately never ended up happening. Next, Leon throws Ash off his game by using his own counter shield technique against him, making him the first character outside of the Diamond and Pearl anime to use this technique. Ash's counter shield technique is of course the technique he made famous and developed during his travels in Sinnoh, first using it in his battle against Fantina during his Heart City gym battle, and using it in other battles such as his battles against Paul at Lake QOTD and in the Sinnoh League. But beyond that, it also looks the same as when Ash had his Buizel spin and use Aqua Jet against Paul at Lake QOTD to deflect Ursaring's Focus Blast. Then when Ash Gigantamaxes Gengar, you can see that the camera actually pans up to the sky and holds there for a couple seconds, which is actually a subtle foreshadowing technique of the eventual arrival of Eternatus later on during this battle. Then when Gengar is able to defeat Inteleon, we can see that Alistair is also watching the match. He's the Ghost-type gym leader of Galar who helped Ash's Gengar become capable of Gigantamax earlier in the series. Leon then sends out his third Pokemon, Mr. Rime, Mr. Rime being the evolution to Galarian Mr. Mime, and then Leon's Mr. Rime uses Freeze Dry to freeze Gengar and the battlefield, which results in Ash being at a disadvantage, having to battle on an ice battlefield, though this isn't the first time he's had to do so, examples being his battles against Viola, Wolfric, Candace, and Bryson. And I think it's quite fascinating that so far every matchup in this battle, in part 1, has involved opposing elements. We have Cinderace becoming a ground type to counter Pikachu's electric typing, we have a clash of water and fire between Inteleon's Aqua Jet and Gengar's Will-O-Wisp, and then Mr. Rime is an ice type which stands opposite to fire type moves like Will-O-Wisp. But it's also interesting that Leon used an ice type to take out Gengar, a Pokemon known for typically being rather cold itself. The episode ends with Ash preparing his counterattack against Leon's Mr. Rime as the battle heats up in the finals of the Masters 8 tournament. What a good start to this final battle! We see Ash's resilience and adaptability perfectly showcasing why he's made it this far in the tournament, even being the first Pokemon to earn a KO in this battle. But we also see why Leon's been the undefeated champion for so long, as he's got an Inteleon that can dual wield, a Mr. Rime that's powerful and light on its feet, and a freaking Cinderace with its hidden Libero ability. The strategies so far have been pretty good, and both sides are doing the best they can. This was a very good start to this battle, and things are just getting started, and I can't wait to see how things heat up more in part 2 of this epic battle. Toying with your emotions. These were all the Easter eggs and references I noticed throughout this episode, but let me know if I missed any in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until next time, continue to train hard, and I'll catch you guys later.